Todd Howard opens up on Starfield and possible changes. I can't wait to hear from the Cope Daddy himself.
Welcome back to the channel. It's Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear, and Starfield continues to put up some low-key impressive numbers, which we're going to get into in just a moment. But
it is truly impressive how the world has come together to hate Starfield. Even Bethesda fanboys who have YouTube channels dedicated to Bethesda games and only Bethesda games are running out of good things to say about Starfield. The latest one, if you remember, would be, "Oh my god, guys, Starfield has physics. When you move this item and it hits the other item, it moves the other item. We can create dominoes with that." And someone made a super lame domino, and the funniest thing was, that was the greatest moment in a week for Starfield fanboys. Oh, look at that. Physics exists. Yeah, it existed in the majority of games 20 years ago already. Yeah, it does exist.
at this point, I'm about 155 hours into my personal adventures and just got to add the third most rare commendation to my tally, the stars, my destination, with only 2.2% of players having achieved this one. But for today, we've got Todd Howard.
I wonder why. I really wonder why.
Giving us some Starfield development info about several aspects of the game, so stay tuned for that one. We've also got one Starfield player baffling the community by pulling off a wild feat, and I've got some details and discussions on some of Starfield's less liked features. Why do we need them, and how could they get better? Along with one...
The loading screens, the bad AI, the shitty combat, the no exploration. Man, by saying one of the Starfield's bad features, he's not exactly, like, you know, narrowing down the list in reality. It's pretty much the whole game at this point anyway.
Feature that the Starfield Reddit is upvoting like crazy, and I think we all want this installed into the game. Now, as always, you guys have been...
FOV slider, or maybe they added, I don't know. I haven't touched Starfield in 2 weeks, as most reasonable people at this point.
Knocking it out of the park with your continued support for my Starfield uploads. In case you haven't yet done so, please hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts.
Yeah,
Likes,
you should
comments,
subscribe
shares
to my
are
channel.
Greatly appreciated.
True,
Chapters are
do
of
it.
course available for a smooth and easy
Nah, man, chapters, that's too much work, fam.
viewing experience.
What do we have?
Let's get this one going.
Todd Howard loves ships. Ships haba are worthless. Million on PC. 6 million on PC, boys. It sold worse than Fallout 4 and Skyrim. What a time to be alive.
Let's kick this one off with a recent statement from Todd Howard made while on the Game Maker's Notebook podcast. And this game's Radar article titled, "Todd Howard didn't expect your Starfield ships to go so hard. Quote, if you give the people the tools, they will surprise you so much." Yeah, as someone that has been with this game...
Yeah, that just sounds like a classic Bethesda excuse. We're not gonna make the game, but we're gonna add modding tools. So, you have no excuse to complain about the game because modding tools, am I right? 1% of the player base is gonna care about modding tools. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Game since launch, I am in awe at some of the ships I've seen posted, both modded and not. It's just something I don't have a knack for. I stole a UC Navy ship from some pirates a while ago, and I've just stuck with that same ship for weeks. I posted a video a few days ago where I reviewed over 50 of the community-created ships, and I plan on doing some more of those in the future because shipbuilding seems to have become the game within the game. But Howard had some interesting comments on this as well. We love the shipbuilding. We've done a lot of cool shipbuilding. We've done some funny, interesting things, and just how far people have pushed it, how much they like to share those...
By the way, the shipbuilding UI is dog shit, okay? Let's be completely real here. But I would say that the shipbuilding is probably the most polished part of the game. Now, keep in mind, the shipbuilding is completely useless, because you are playing a space exploration game where the ship is just a piece of the aesthetic, and not actually functional or usable. But at least the shipbuilding part was polished. Probably the only person with any shred of experience, understanding, and skill did the shipbuilding, and then they fumbled the UI because, you know, obviously that's a Bethesda trademark. Now, seriously, how are all the UI systems in this game like it's baby's first game? How is that possible? How are these systems, every single UI piece in this game, the worst in any Bethesda game ever? Is that intentional?
Multi-page building guides. It's sort of like, if you give people the tools, they will surprise you so much. And that's one aspect of the community I wanted to give a big shout out to. It's how not only are these ships popping up left and right, but along with the designs, players are taking the time to give full breakdown guides so others can then come along and make that exact ship, or, you know, something close to it. The camaraderie and support within the Starfield community is something that doesn't get enough praise, but it's real and it deserves the recognition.
Did that pirate just swing at him while not even being in range?
Praise, but it's real.
Yup. I have never seen this. So, the pirate doesn't run up to him and start swinging and he backs off. No. The pirate doesn't even actually get to him and he starts swinging at air. I didn't know this was a thing. I have to say, Starfield does keep surprising me a lot, honestly, but I had no idea this is even possible. Wow, that is bad.
And it deserves the recognition. And speaking of ships and ship design, this post really caught my attention. Cargo hulls should increase cargo, posted by Yoki Senpai. Hopefully I said that correctly. And they've included a 3x2 cargo hull photo along with this comment. It's cool to look at aesthetically if you walk through your ship, but would be the...
God, I hate Bethesda rooms. Look at this design. It's so shit. It is absolutely so unbearably bad. The tarp. Look at it. There's a tarp. There's a tarp there. Why are tarps just present throughout the multiverse everywhere? Why? Why is every city just littered with tarps? Why is every ship interior littered with 50 tarps? What's the point of a tarp even? Why? Why do you even have it on the ship? The point of a tarp is to put it over something so it doesn't get wet. Do you have clouds in the ship? Why do you have it? And also, you're hauling cargo? Why isn't this all neatly stored in places? Or at least attached with straps to something? Why is it just there willy-nilly like you let an 8-year-old do this? And this is every single location Bethesda has made in Starfield. Well, probably AI generated would be the correct term to use here. But this is exactly what has happened to every single location. It's just a bunch of things thrown in because they could, I guess. It just looks disgusting and unappealing. I hate it so much. Seriously, does no one in the Starfield universe care to put things properly down, or do they just fucking yeet it? Because it looks like the latter.
Icing on the cake if they actually had a purpose. Now, this is a facet of shipbuilding I've seen mentioned many times on the Starfield Reddit. The Hab units look cool, how they each kind of differ and they have their own unique looks, but most of the time, they have no other purpose than...
Yeah, look at this. Look at how filled with everything this is. It just makes so little... It's just painful.
And just being there for looks. And here is a clear case of that example. I totally agree that if you install...
Why is this thing here? You see that? You see this? Why is it even there? What purpose does it serve to just not clutter up the screen?
a cargo hull hab, it should do something to increase your cargo.
Also, if the gravity is low on this planet or whatever, Bethesda likes realism. StarCraft is about No, you wouldn't even put things like this on planets with low gravity. You understand, if the gravity is low enough, probably a lot of this shit will just flow away at some point, or just, flop over.
Cargo capacity. These units look incredible, but I don't know, who knows? What if they could install a mechanic where when you took in different cargo, like when you loot destroyed ships, that your cargo hull would change appearance with different crates and boxes? Now, that would be cool to see. Let me know where you stand on all of this. We could be interested in seeing not only cargo capacity expanded for using these units, but having them change appearance as you load and offload different cargo. All right, next we've got this post over on Twitter from Peter Ovo that instantly caught my attention.
Oh, man.
Check this out.
I can't tell if this is a troll account, by the way, or not. I really can't. Sometimes it seems like this is pure Bethesda fanboyism, but at other points, the posts are so absolutely insanely stupid, you think this must be satire.
Some estimates put Starfield at 6 million copies sold on Steam. And there's this link to the Starfield Steam DB charts included. And at first, I was lost with this one. But if you take a look down at the bottom, it shows Steam Spy with an owner estimation at over 5.62 million. Again, that's just Steam PC owners. Now, I've never personally heard of Steam Spy, but PlayTracker and VG Insights I have heard of. Nearly...
This makes sense to a degree, by the way. Yeah, you're probably thinking I'm gonna shit on it, but no, this makes sense to a degree, okay? So, the first thing Bethesda fanboys are gonna do is gonna play it on the Xbox, because that's their tribe now, since the Xbox acquired Bethesda. So they're gonna do it there. But turns out you can get it on free for Steam if you do some little shenanigans. I'm not even sure if this is shenanigans. You can just get Starfield for free if you have an Xbox Game Pass. So, this wouldn't surprise me that, originally there's like 2 or 3 million, but now everyone who has bought it on, well, not bought it, but, has it for free on Xbox is also getting it for free on Steam while they have the chance. It wouldn't surprise me if something like that is happening. But is 6 million real? Fuck no, obviously not. And even if 6 million was real, it's still lower than Fallout 4 shift. And I'm pretty sure it's one of the lowest selling games on Steam for Bethesda, which is atrocious.
6 million on Steam alone sounds on the high side to me, but who knows? I could be wrong. The last player estimate we saw posted on September the 19th by Bethesda put the total player counts at just over 10 million, which includes Game Pass, and Starfield was posted as the number 2 most played game over there. And you would think
it's exclusively Game Pass. Do you think anyone buys Starfield? No, they Game Pass it, and ironically give Microsoft more money. But that's a different story.
I think the majority of the player counts would come from that side. Now, my feelings are that nearly 6 million of a reported 10 million was just on Steam. PC is a bit optimistic, although PlayTracker at 1.43 mil sounds a bit more realistic to me. Switching gears, and this next one is just wild. Posted by Dexerto, Starfield fans baffled as player marries 2 companions simultaneously. And apparently this player managed to marry both Sarah and Andreja.
Wow, a bug.
At the exact same time after passing a persuasion check. Just listen to this. They cheated on Andreja with Sarah and was told to talk to Andreja. She was pissed, but I passed a persuasion check that was basically like, hey, don't be mad, babe. And I fully expected to get dumped, but it seems all it took was an easy persuasion check, and now I have 2 wives. Let me know if this is the first time you've heard of any of this, because I was taken back after reading the article. According to some of the responses to this post, Sarah will still take you if you're first married to Andreja, but not the other way around. And if I remember correctly, some of Sarah's dialogue options, when you can ask her about her past, she mentions that she's had past relationships with both men and women, and who knows, maybe...
Of course. Of course. Dude, Starfield has the worst companions, okay? They're all the same. They're all good. They all like the same thing. It's insanity. It's the same companion, just pasted how many times over? I don't know. A lot. Sadly, a lot.
This is how it all culminates in the game. My question is, do you get a double sleep bonus from 15 to 30% anytime you rest? I have questions. This next one popped up directly from the official Starfield game Twitter account, and I wanted some feedback on this topic.
No, look at
Create
that.
anything from basic sustenance to gourmet delicacies at a cooking station and put points into the nutrition skill to make food and drink more effective.
A complete waste of time. An absolute complete 100% without excuse waste of time. It would be nice that this wasn't a waste of time, but most things that you can do in Starfield are half-baked waste of times.
Now for me, cooking, consuming food and water is something I don't mess with in Starfield.
Obviously, because there's also not there's not even a decent menu where you can consume food properly.
I read of players making full kitchens in their outpost, sourcing all the best ingredients, but with the way the UI works, going into my menu and hopping into that area to try and eat food that gives you basically no health benefits, I just stick to med packs and trauma packs, things like that, especially when I'm in combat. But I will say that overall,
Don't worry, a mod will fix it. A mod will fix it.
Never really interacted with this mechanic in Bethesda games. In Skyrim, I think I cooked maybe a dozen times in thousands of hours of playtime. Maybe it's something that could be made a priority, say like in a hardcore Starfield mode, where your player would get hungry and thirsty. Now, that would be an interesting addition to the game. Alright, this next one is one I know we all have strong feelings about, the overuse of loading screens. And Cenio17 posted this one to the Starfield Reddit asking about this very thing. Starfield doesn't even need all those loading screens.
What do you mean Starfield doesn't? Do you think they just added them there to piss you off? Maybe. But it needs it. How will I travel planet from planet without 4 loading screens? How? I will feel naked.
Let's preface this by saying that loading screens don't really bother me. They're super fast and they don't really hamper my immersion or experience.
If you travel from planet to planet without a mission log taking you somewhere else like a blind baby, you need a roughly 3 to 5 loading screens from get to planet, which involve 75% of that time spent in loading screens and 25% of that time just clicking once and then holding X like a toddler. Not a great experience.
That said, I think they are a very strange design choice in many cases. Then he goes on to list them out. Elevators. Why?
Oh, I know what he's going to say about elevators. I said the same thing. Again, in Fallout 4, they already had the thing that elevators, by the way, surprise, surprise, elevators are loading screens. But you can make them where you don't lose control of your character, and it creates the illusion that you're moving, while in reality you're just loading the next zone. Starfield decided, nah fam, you get a loading screen, bro. You get a loading screen everywhere. By the way, some planets, like Mars, Cydonia, I don't remember which one it was, but the one where there was ice on the wind turbines, which is, by the way, stupid. Those wind turbines would never last in such winds, and they would instantaneously catch on fire. Good job in realism there, Toddy boy. But in any case, in that location, they actually do have some rooms that are fake loading screens like those. When you're supposed to close the door and the other door opens, that's a loading screen. But for some reason, they actually made it that is not a real loading screen. That's like, a fake loading screen, like an elevator. But that's it. That's it. So they understood that they can do it because, well, obviously they have done it in previous games, but they chose to not do it. They chose to not even try to do it.
Fade to a black screen instead of using the elevator as a loading screen like Fallout 4 did. Many areas add loading screens when they're absolutely not necessary. Agreed with that one. One example is Neon City, where you can jump down the ledge from Ebside to go right back to the landing bay of your ship, but to get up, you had to use an elevator loading screen. Why? Many buildings have areas that are above or below you that are accessed by an elevator with a loading screen, yet you can jump down or jetpack up freely as well. Why? Grav jump.
I did not even know this was a thing, honestly. I never noticed it.
Jumps. Fade to white, then to black to the loading screen, then to white again for the animation. Why? Why not all white? Some shops and buildings are open and some require a loading screen through a door.
Yep. This was one of my complaints. In the first city, the first shops you see, they are open. But after you go to the second district, and then every shop is in a loading screen. You need to open the door and load in. Why? Half the shops are open because I guess those are the first shops. But then the second shops are not open and they need to load in, which makes no fucking sense.
Why? And as I read this through, I've got to say, CNEO 17 does bring up some very valid points here. For instance, how is it you can jump down to the landing pad in Neon with no loading screen, but if you take the elevator, you do get one? I've also done the same many times from my apartment in New Atlantis. Take the elevator and tram, multiple loading screens. Pull out your scanner and highlight your ship on the landing pad to fast travel, loading screen, or use your jetpack off of the balcony. You can make it all the way down there with no loading screens. Same thing with fast traveling to different systems. Select the exact planet and landing location that is discovered. You can grav jump directly to the planet's surface. But if you select the system first, that's a loading screen. Select the planet once you've arrived in the system, loading screen. Select the landing spot, ship landing, loading screen.
By the way, that was all quite nice to me because I'm so used to the loading screens.
Now, I'm not a game coder, but if Bethesda could sort out how to handle traveling and traversing to different zones...
By the way, I love the fact that we're not even talking about removing loading screens like, you know, every single other AAA game or double A game does, and even 1A games do nowadays. We're not even talking about that. We're just talking about removing loading screens that they put in for no reason where there shouldn't even be a loading screen, okay? We're not even talking about removing loading screens. We're just talking about removing the loading screens that clearly don't need to be there but for some reason are. Even though the game doesn't require them to be there. This is the insanity. This is the level of insanity we have gotten.
And systems without all these loading screens, it could go really a long way to building a more cohesive and immersive environment to explore. And speaking of exploring, Whiskey Cloud's backup kept it simple but ultra effective with this post. Literally the only thing I want in this game. Just give me something.
Good luck driving this thing over all the rocks Bethesda decided to add on the planets. Well, also, okay, you add a vehicle, right? What's the point? What's the point? Just to see the next loading screen faster? What are you gonna do? Take it for a spin around the world that's full of rocks and you constantly get flipped over? Are you gonna run into the invisible wall because, you know, reasons? There's no point to this. The irony of vehicles is the fact that the reality is you don't want vehicles because they're pointless and they would probably make your experience worse.
To roam around the planet with. And then they posted a clean looking rover vehicle pic here, which I completely agree with this post. Give us something to wheel around on a planet's surface. I've even thrown the idea out there that we could attach some bars to Vasco and maybe use him to get around quickly, kind of like TARS and Interstellar. Something to get us across those huge areas of nothing as quickly as possible. Vehicles and loading screens seem to be at the top of a lot of players' wish lists. Maybe Bethesda can make this happen very soon, maybe in an upcoming DLC, or even a modder might get this one taken care of once the creation kits are made available. Quick question for you. How many of
Yeah, a mod will fix it, as always. Typical.
you would have preferred much harsher planet-side environments? Well, according to Todd Howard, that was their original plan. A few days ago, Rock Paper Shotgun ran with this title. Starfield's planets were initially much harsher until Bethesda nerfed the hell out of status effects. What do you think about that?
Good. No one cares about status effects. Most people don't notice that they have frostburn, burn, or whatever. You know what are the stats that matter for a spacesuit? Physical reduction, damage reduction, and I already forgot what's the other one. Kinetic? No, physical is kinetic. The other one. The other one. Energy damage, right? Energy damage. Wow, I forgot even that. Those are the only two stats that matter. Radiation resistance. What's that? Where is it even useful? Are you kidding me? You're telling me how would I even know if a planet is radioactive? Do you want me to scan it before I land on it? Are you crazy? That's another loading screen. I'm not gonna do that. I have never felt a difference. Like, these status effects are useless.
I feel like every time I land planetside, I'm catching some sort of affliction, lung damage, hypothermia, blisters, you name it. I get it within minutes of landing and exploring a planet. Howard did go on to expand on this a bit further, though. The way the environmental damage works in the game on planets and on your suit, you have resistances and certain kinds of atmosphere effects where there's radiation or thermal, etc. That's a pretty complex system, and it was very punitive. So we kept trying where you get these afflictions. We kept trying to tune it. We get to a point where we're tuning it and you're healing to heal those things. And what we did at the end of the day, and it was a complicated system for players to understand, is we just nerfed the hell out of it. Howard went on to explain
that's unironically probably the only good thing Todd Howard has done in the past 20 years of his life.
that Bethesda's original vision for this was to make players use a multitude of different spacesuits, each designed to handle different atmospheric issues like radiation.
Imagine having no backpack space and having now even less. Yeah, that sounds like great fun, not gonna lie.
Or extreme cold. He also admitted that the way that it is right now in the game, players don't think about it much, but that may be something they address going forward. Wow, okay. What would you say to that version of Starfield, where you equip the wrong spacesuit and say, step onto a planet with high radiation and are just immediately cooked? That's an interesting version of the game for sure, because like Different Morning 18 says in their...
That sounds so stupid. Because you know what would actually happen? No, wait. Fast travel could always get you out of that problem. So, okay, actually, it's not a big deal. But you know what would potentially happen to a couple of people? They would auto-save right before they're dead. By accident, because they didn't notice. And that would be kind of bad.
Post, anyone just say, F it. I guess I'm chronically sick now. And look at their HUD with 4 status effects all stacked up. You know, Howard's right, though. These effects don't do much, although I've suffered lung damage before and it didn't do much, although it would make my player randomly cough and it would draw attention to my position, especially when I was trying to stealth my way into certain areas. Now, when it comes time to cure those ailments or to heal yourself, Shifty 130 does bring up a good point here.
God, there's the inventory. You know why people don't want to heal those ailments? Because the inventory is just a painful, painful mess of nothing. There's no way to sort them. There's no nothing. You honestly should be happy this Bethesda team decided to add an inventory, not you just rolling the dice every time you try to open the inventory and see what happens.
I find it annoying when I try to use a stolen kit that it always seems to use a non-stolen item instead. And I've seen this one before. You have like 100 med packs that are clean, 1 that is stolen, and even when you select to use the stolen kit, it consumes one of the clean versions instead. Now, the only way I know how to fix this
The fact that you actually have a differentiation between stolen and non-stolen is stupid in the first place.
is to sell that stolen kit to a trade authority vendor, and then, without leaving the vendor menu, go to the buyback area and buy that med pack back for the exact same price you sold it to them for. But I agree, this is one that needs to be tweaked, because I would love to use up those stolen items before the clean versions, especially when you know you're eventually going to get jailed for a bounty, and then they confiscate those stolen items at time of release. And let's wrap this one up with some downright bizarre. Check this one out from Mo Sniper 74, who asks, so why are they all naked? And just look at this. I think this is at the end of the Crimson Fleet quest line. I mean, I could be wrong, but wow.
It's called Bethesda coding or something.
Sometimes this game just does some crazy stuff. I've seen it where I've jumped off the train at New Atlantis and had some of the UC security force spawn in with no armor at all. Let me know if you've had something like this happen to you during your adventures. Okay, this feels like a great place to wrap this one up. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive...
Dude, man, the things these people actually are fans about, it's absolutely wild. Anyway, Buzz Lightyear. It's a fun video, what can I say? But yeah, man, Bethesda fanboyism is a true plague. Anyway, this was Quizzer Said, and thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.